So if you've ever found yourself wishing you could just bottle the energy of a highly motivated, high-performing team,
Right.
one that handles immense stress and, real emotional difficulty, yet genuinely loves working together, then this deep dive is for you.
It really is.
We are pulling apart the specific operational and cultural playbook of Kaye Ginsberg.
And we're focusing on her company, Peace of Mind Transitions. But before we get into the strategies, I think we really need to understand the environment here.
Yeah, the context is everything.
It is. This company provides senior move management services. What that means is their clients are older adults moving out of homes they've lived in for decades.
Decades. We're talking 25, even 40 years.
Exactly. And they're moving into senior living.
So, that's not just moving furniture, is it?
Not at all.
That's moving a life. The emotional stakes are inherently just astronomical for the clients, for their families.
Right. It's a job that requires this massive amount of empathy and care alongside, some really rigorous logistics.
Precisely. And this context is so key because Ginsberg grew this operation from basically just her, a solo entrepreneur 9 years ago,
All on her own.
to grossing over $1.3 million last year.
It's an incredible growth story. And she says that success comes from creating this foundational system built on 3 pillars.
Okay, what are they?
Absolute clarity of mission, a set of non-negotiable core values, and radical internal transparency.
And what's really fascinating here is the culture that comes out of that.
Mm-hmm.
She calls it a high-touch, no-blame environment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so successful at fostering connection that she actually describes her team meetings generating hugs and happiness, even among her male staff, which, just isn't what you'd expect.
No, it's the total antithesis of a typical high-stress moving company.
Completely.
And it speaks to this whole philosophy that success is generated by proactively aligning the entire organization, from hiring all the way to daily decisions.
Instead of constantly reacting to failures or, punishing people.
Exactly. It's about building psychological safety first.
Okay, let's unpack this. I think we have to start with how they build that initial alignment. Their guiding North Star, the mission.
Right. So Ginsberg has this strong belief that employees absolutely must have a meaningful purpose. The mission is defined as compassionate, professional, white-glove move services.
It sounds simple.
It does, but every single word in there is a strategic filter.
And that strategic filter is so crucial because, as the source material notes, it helps the company understand who our client is because we're not for everybody.
We're not for everybody. That's the key. Think about it. If you're a standard mover, your mission might just be move items efficiently from A to B.
Get the boxes in the truck.
Yeah. Peace of Mind Transitions, they're selling emotional stewardship. So if a client just needs cheap labor, they strategically filter themselves out.
They're explicitly saying, that's not us.
Right. They're distinguishing themselves to attract the clients who need that support, the clients who need the team to have their, quote, arms wrapped around this family.
So the mission ensures they're hiring people who get that intuitively, that their role is temporary emotional stewardship, not just logistics.
Exactly. The mission vets the clients, but then the 5 core values vet and guide the team.
And these aren't just, slogans framed on the wall. They're described as the company's actual operating system.
Yes, applied from the very first minute of hiring and used to guide every single decision. That's where the rubber really meets the road.
Okay, so let's get into them. These 5 values are the behavioral standard, and it sounds like they cluster into 2 main areas.
They do. You can think of it as internal investment and operational resilience. Let's start with those investment values because they truly define the internal culture.
Okay, so the first of these is creatively serve together. That sounds like it just establishes the baseline expectation of teamwork, right? No silos, no solo heroes.
That's the foundation. But the second one, invest in each other, is where you really see the cultural differentiation.
How so?
Ginsberg states it very clearly. She says the team is just as important as our clients are.
Wow. That is a radical statement in the service industry.
It is. Usually the client comes first, even if it means sacrificing employee well-being.
So this sets up an internal reciprocity loop. If the company invests in me, I'll invest back in the company and my teammates.
You've got it.
What are some of the, concrete ways this investment is shown? Beyond just saying the words.
It's the small, highly visible acts of responsiveness. We see 2 great examples here. 1, staff requested sweatshirts for cold mornings because sometimes they were working in just T-shirts.
Simple request.
Simple request. The company immediately provided them. 2, A supply driver suggested adding additional safety mirrors to the side view of their vans.
Another practical, safety-oriented idea.
And that request was fulfilled.
Why are those specific examples? I mean, a sweatshirt, a mirror, why are they so important? They seem kind of minor.
They seem minor, but they represent a major shift in the dynamic. They show that the investment is tangible, it's immediate, and it's based on feedback, not just, some quarterly budget cycle.
I see.
When an employee asks for something that improves their comfort or their safety, and leadership fulfills it quickly, it sends this powerful message: we see you. We see the friction points in your day, and we prioritize making your job better.
And that builds institutional trust far faster than a bonus, I'd imagine.
Way faster.
Okay. And I see how that trust leads directly into the third value: care contagiously.
Yeah.
This has to be the one that produces that remarkable hugs and happiness environment you mentioned.
Absolutely. This is defined as caring deeply about each other. Not just the client, but each other. In a high-stress industry, this intentional focus on internal care is what prevents burnout and stops internal conflict before it starts.
Right. So when Ginsberg observes team members meeting up, and she notes she's never seen so many hugs and happiness to see each other, that's the proof.
That's the proof that the psychological safety is functioning. People feel safe, they feel supported, and they are genuinely happy to be together. And that's essential before they can offer that same high-touch compassion to a distressed client.
Right, you can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't.
Okay, so let's move to that second cluster, the operational resilience values.
Yeah.
We have remain adaptable. Given the industry, why is that listed as a core value rather than just a professional skill?
That's a great question. It's because senior moving is just defined by uncertainty.
Things go wrong.
Constantly. Plans, timelines, a client's health status, their needs. It all changes all the time. By enshrining adaptability as a value, they're setting the expectation that flexibility isn't optional.
It's the standard state of operations.
It is, and it gives the team permission to pivot without fear of, getting reprimanded when the inevitable wrench is thrown in the plan.
And the last one is influence positively. This feels like it extends the mission outward, beyond the immediate job.
Correct. It defines their corporate citizenship, making the world around them a better place. And this shows up in specific actions.
For example,
they sponsor and participate in a Parkinson's walk, and they have a strong, active partnership with Habitat for Humanity.
So it validates that desire for meaningful work by proving the company cares about more than just its own bottom line.
Exactly.
That is a highly detailed framework. But how do you keep these five, seemingly soft values central to daily decisions? They can't just be a checklist you look at once a year.
No, and the mechanism is continuous reinforcement. They make sure the values live in our decision-making. And critically, they highlight and discuss one specific core value in their monthly company newsletter.
So it's a constant rotating focus.
It's a cyclical reinforcement. It ensures that framework is central to everyone's identity, and it guarantees that the mission and values don't get diluted as the company grows.
That sets a beautiful architecture for a culture, for sure. But the real test of any organization isn't when things are going well.
No, it's when they go spectacularly wrong.
Right. So if you're operating under stress, how do you enforce high standards without just dissolving this delicate psychological safety? Let's move our deep dive into accountability and transparency.
This is where the famous no judgment, no blame protocol comes into play.
Okay.
When a mistake happens, and in this line of work, mistakes are costly and they're emotional, the reflex has to be controlled, the policy is rigidly defined, no blame, no judgment.
And the required response is always,
let's learn from it, let's move on.
That sounds incredible, but in a revenue-generating, high-stakes environment, how do you prevent that from being exploited? Where does the line shift from learning to just tolerating incompetence?
That is the critical distinction. And it works because the high-touch hiring process has already aggressively filtered for alignment and for competence.
So you're starting with good people.
You're starting with people who are already bought in. So the no-blame protocol isn't an acceptance of sloppy work. It's a structural guarantee that when a dedicated, values-aligned employee makes a genuine error, the focus will be on system correction, not personal fault.
It shifts the question from who caused it to what caused it.
Exactly. And that pivot from fault to prevention is modeled directly from the top. It has to be. Ginsberg models this radical accountability herself. She says, if I make a mistake, I own it in front of everybody.
Now that transparency is a powerful tool.
It is. It instantly neutralizes the fear of reporting errors. Because if the owner doesn't place blame on other people, The team understands they are all together on this mission.
It's an explicit demonstration of leadership vulnerability. That has to fortify trust.
It does, and that level of transparency isn't just about mistakes, though. It's also about being accessible. She implements a comprehensive open-door policy.
So employees in any role are free to make suggestions, right?
Yeah.
Even if the idea is totally outside their specific area?
Yes, like an organizer making a suggestion about logistics software. It empowers the staff to think holistically about the entire business.
But as a company scales past the $1 million mark, the owner physically can't maintain daily personal contact with every team member, especially the ones out in the field. So how does she make sure that open-door policy stays genuine and doesn't just become a platitude?
That's the genius behind the initiative she calls Coffee with Kaye.
Coffee with Kaye.
Yep. These are dedicated monthly meetings with different team members, and she specifically targets the ones she doesn't see on a regular basis.
The people who might otherwise feel disconnected from leadership.
Precisely.
Is the purpose of this just a morale boost, or is there a specific mechanism here for operational input?
It's both, but the focus is clearly on the input. She explicitly uses this time to get to know them a little bit more personally and, crucially, to hear their ideas.
So by dedicating her own time to these non-managerial conversations, she's validating that open-door policy.
She's showing that she respects their operational opinions, regardless of their role or their tenure.
Okay, but here's the point where most organizational transparency efforts fail. The rejection. If a team member spends time and energy developing a suggestion and leadership rejects it, trust can break down instantly. The employee feels unheard, dismissed. How does Ginsberg maintain transparency when she has to say no?
This is such a critical step in maintaining the fidelity of the whole system. If Ginsberg decides not to implement an idea, she makes sure she follows up and explains why we're not doing it.
She gives a rationale.
She gives a rationale based on business strategy or maybe regulatory concerns or costs. It's not just an abrupt no.
That explanation is what closes the loop.
It does.
It prevents the employee from internalizing the rejection as, my idea was stupid, or leadership doesn't value my time. Instead, they understand the business constraint.
Precisely. It sustains transparency because the employee understands the decision framework. The decision is understood based on logic and business reasoning, which maintains their dignity and ensures that internal investment stays intact, even when their suggestion isn't adopted.
So if we synthesize the success factors here, it's not about reacting to misalignment with, punitive correction.
Not at all.
Success is achieved by aggressively screening for alignment from the very first minute, defining the cultural expectations explicitly, and then creating a psychologically safe space where errors lead to learning, not conflict.
And that intentional, high-touch internal investment, the personalized coffee meetings, the immediate fulfillment of requests for safety equipment or comfort items, the public ownership of mistakes, that's the engine.
It's what powers the whole thing.
It is. It creates a culture where people genuinely enjoy being with each other. And that internal joy and safety is exactly what enables them to provide that compassionate, high-touch service to families during a deeply emotional life transition.
So the lesson here for you is that the quality of your external service will never, ever exceed the quality of your internal culture. Ginsberg shows that deeply caring for your team is probably the most effective strategic decision a high-touch service business can make.
And this whole model, it raises an important structural question. If Kaye Ginsberg focuses so heavily on proactive screening and positive reinforcement, detailing the no blame, no judgment protocol, but the sources don't detail any protocols for defined correction or for termination, it makes you wonder, can a truly no blame culture ultimately sustain itself without those disciplinary processes?
Or is it the other way around? Is the upfront screening for values so highly effective that the team naturally self-selects out any misalignment?
Right, rendering standard disciplinary protocols simply unnecessary. That's something for you to consider as you think about structuring your own team.